Tampa Bay Buccaneers from the 48-yard line. Second down, 13. Brady lobs one downfield. Caught ball by Gronkowski inside the 20 to the 15-10. Gronkowski to the 5 to the 4-yard line. Holy guacamole.
Third down, 18. Dropping Gannon, looking Gannon. Throws up the middle. It's intercepted at the 40. Derek Brooks 30. Brooks to the 25, 20. Derek Brooks all the way. There it is. The dagger's in. We're going to win the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl, baby!
This is the Big Nasty. Yeah, Big Nasty, Hall of Fame Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan, baby.
This is Mike Allstott, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and you're listening to the Cannon Fire Podcast.
Cannon Fire Podcast, brother. You ain't listening, and you're missing out. Woo!
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new edition of the Cannon Fire Podcast, live on YouTube today for our biggest podcast of the year. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time once again for our annual season prediction show. Welcome back to the Cannon Fire Podcast, live on YouTube today for episode 191. I'm your host, as always, Rhett Matthew, joined alongside me, my good buddy and co-host, the Philly Bucs fan himself, Mr. Evan Wanish. We have got an action-packed show for you guys today. We're going to be going over season predictions. We'll give you player predictions. Evan has a very special edition of his take bag. And before we do that, we do have a very, very large announcement. But firstly, Evan, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing very good and very excited to announce this. It has been in the works for
like a month and a half.
No, I would say the last few months, but it's really ramped up here in the last month and a half. So very excited to announce it. And I'm excited for this episode. It's one of my favorites every year. So
definitely our longest. So if you guys are hungry for some Buccaneers content, you've come to the right place. We're going to be talking Bucs for the next couple hours.
I actually enjoy doing this one more than the season review one.
Yeah.
I enjoy like picking the games and stuff and like trying to guess and see matchups and stuff. So I enjoy this one more than reviewing the games that already happened because like we already did that. Like, we always review the game. So technically we've already done that. So this is always a fun one.
Oh yeah. Shout out to our people in the live chat, by the way. Zach Jarvis, Glon Williams, Harrison Aaron said he's a new subscriber. We appreciate you. Our buddy Adam Davies from across the pond in Bucs, UK. G Vegas, one of our moderators holding it down. Antonio Santiago, and anybody else that I may have missed. So, folks, everybody is here. If you haven't, well, then I guess you're late to the announcement, but we should go ahead and get to it, right? Like Evan had mentioned, this is something that we have had in the works for a couple of months. It's really started to ramp up over these last few weeks. We're able to actually get a contract for it. Everything is in writing, and it is officially official. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to announce that we are teaming up with our friends at Berry House Beer Company and Wingbox Food Truck for the first ever Cannon Fire Watch Party. It all goes down Sunday, November 14th. The party starts at noon with a pregame podcast. Of course, the game at 1. Tampa Bay is going to be taking on the Washington football team in Washington. So what better week to watch a game? It should hopefully be nice and cool outside because it's a partially outdoor venue. But we're really, really excited with this, man. So post-game immediately after the game, but plenty of local craft beer to choose from. And listen, when you think craft beer and like local breweries, a lot of people think like hipster IPA, bitter, sour beer, garbage. Listen, I am not a beer connoisseur. I'm a simple man, okay? I went and did a flight of every single beer that Berry House has. I think they have over 11 brews on tap. And all of it's good. All of it's good. It's not your hipster IPA bull crap that people try to sell you on, the beer that's not really good. Like Berry House, they kill it, dude. And we've known these guys for a couple of years, so we're very, very excited. And then our guys over at the Wingbox Food Truck, I've been eating Wingbox for probably 6 years now. And folks, I kid you not, this is the best food truck in Tampa Bay, which offers the best wings in Tampa Bay. So, of course, they're going to be catering the event. Make sure you guys come out. It's going to be a lot of fun. Sunday, November 22nd. Party starts at 12. Game starts at 1. We're going to be doing post-game immediately after the game live here on YouTube. And then, of course, any of our audio outlets as well. But that's it, man. I'm pumped. I'm pumped, brother.
Just a quick correction. You said Sunday, November 22nd. It's a Sunday, November 14th.
No, you are correct. Monday, November 22nd is the game that I'm thinking of. That's Monday Night Football against the Giants. And the reason November 22nd was on my mind is that myself and a buddy were out at training camp yesterday, and Bucs COO Brian Ford came by and filled us in that John Lynch is going to be in Tampa Bay November 22nd. The San Francisco 49ers will play Jacksonville the 21st. That's Sunday. John Lynch is going to stay in Tampa, head down for the game on the 22nd, and at halftime, he'll be presented with his Hall of Fame ring on behalf of the organization, because just in case you missed that as well, it's been a hell of a weekend for John Lynch. He got inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame after 7 straight years of being eligible, so it's about damn time. But that's why November 22nd was on my mind. But yes, correct, Evan. Yes. November 14th is the watch party, guys. Don't get it twisted. And we're going to have plenty of video promos and flyers all over our social media, so we'll get as much info to you as soon as possible, as soon as this show ends. But if you're watching here on the season predictions, you kind of get, the first little scoop of what's going on.
Yeah, you covered everything there. Yeah, so it's exciting. It's the first time we've really tried to do something like this. We've talked about it a little bit, but never were able to really do it. And we're hoping that, it's a good turnout. And, the Berry House, thank you to Berry House. Thank you to Wingbox for helping us out with this, giving us a great location, great food selection. Berry House themselves also serves some food, but I'll tell you, Wingbox, I've never had them, but I'm just like you. I am a wing connoisseur, as you know, and I eat a ton of chicken wings, so I'm very excited to be able to try Wingbox, because I've heard so many good things from you about it. So really excited to do that.
Hey, we'll take it from your King of the Wing champion, man.
Okay.
These are the best. These are the best wings around.
All right, let's calm down with that. All right.
Zach Jarvis in the live chat says, I thought you were a Wingstop guy. We are undefeated when you get food there. And that is correct. The Buccaneers are a whopping 8-0. Last year when I was getting Wingstop every single day of the week, they did win the Super Bowl, and I did not get Wingstop on the Super Bowl. So let's remember that. My friendly neighborhood Fresh and Fun came in clutch for the Super Bowl, and they got me my wings and shrimp. I got shrimp because it was Super Bowl Sunday. So listen, I have made my commitment to Wingstop because it is right by my house. Once the season starts, we're actually going to be moving, so I don't know if I'll have one that close anymore. But I'm still going to be doing Wingstop every single Sunday. The ritual is still there, but Wingstop, Wingbox, it's got wing in the name, and I'm picking Wingbox wings over Wingstop 10 days out of the week. Like I kid you not, I cannot stress this enough, guys, how good this food is. So as far as the ritual goes, I don't think we'll break any curses because we're still getting chicken wings on NFL Sunday. That's what matters, right?
Yeah, and it's a Wingbox is a wing truck, so it'll be outside. It'll be outside of the venue. You'll be able to just walk right out, order your wings, bring it back in, and watch the rest of the game. So,
and they've got wings and fries. If you're a traditional guy, they got sweet potato fries. I don't know if they have tater tots anymore, but they also have these things that are pretty kick-ass. They are loaded bowls, and it's exactly what you think it is. It's a base of French fries with either ranch or blue cheese, chicken on top of it, and then you can double down, throw whatever the hell you want on there. Extra cheese, sour cream, ranch, more meat, more fries, jalapenos, anything your heart can imagine, they're going to throw in that bowl for you. So that's why we pick these guys, because they are simply the best.
Yeah, absolutely. And join Rhett, join myself, and we'll be having special guest James, aka Mr. Bucs Nation, will also be there. So you'll be able to see us. You'll be able to finally meet us in person. You'll be able to meet James. So it'll be a fun time. Hopefully the Bucs can pull out a victory, and we'll have a fun afternoon. I mean, regardless, even if the Bucs get blown out, it's gonna be a blast anyway. I'm sure we'll be hanging with you fine people. So don't worry, you guys will definitely not be, we'll let you guys know. Like I said, the flyers, the videos there'll be daily, podcast reminders and stuff like that. So you guys are going to be informed of what's going on. And we hope you guys can come out. It'll be a fun time.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get down to business. As you can see by the name of this podcast, it is the Season Prediction Show. So without further ado, we're going to go through weeks 1 through 18, because there are 18 weeks of NFL football this year. And we're going to break down every single matchup the Buccaneers have this season, whether they're going to win or lose, and what our final record prediction may be, as well as some player awards and a very special edition of Evan's Take Bag. Are you ready?
Yes, I am ready, and I do have some season prediction history. This is not the first season prediction video that we've done.
Oh no,
We've
this
been
is our
doing this
fourth?
we've been
Third?
doing it since 2017, so this is our fifth. This is our fifth one. So, what I did, I went back, I watched them, and I saw the record that Rhett put out. I saw the record that I put out, and then I compared it to the actual team record. So 2017.
Oh man, I know this one's rough. I think I picked them to go like 12-4.
No, I think we had the same one here.
Okay.
We both had them going 10-6, and they ended up going 5-11. Now I will say that was the end of mine being way off. Rhett continued to be the optimist, as you guys know him on the show as. 2018, Rhett predicted 10-6. I predicted 8-8. They went 5-11, so I was the closest one there. But I will say, not to toot my own horn here, but what I predict on this show, you should listen what I predict on this show, because in 2019, Rhett
I don't mean to toot my own horn, but basically when I talk, you need to listen.
When it comes to season predictions, I'm on a roll here. Rhett predicted 9-7 in 2019. I predicted 7-9. They went 7-9. In 2020, we both predicted 11-5, and they went 11-5.
Hey, I'll take that. That's one
Rhett,
under my belt.
While Rhett has one, I have two, and I have two in a row. So what I say goes with the record prediction. So if I say they're going 17-0, guess what? They're going 17-0.
Oh hell yeah, brother.
I mean, everybody knows me. They know I'm not picking them to go.
Well, I'm definitely excited to get into this year's prediction, because I think we can safely say that both of us, this is the most wins we've probably ever picked in a season ever, right? Like,
it'll definitely be.
Yeah. So it'll definitely be more wins than anything we've predicted in the past, and that's saying something, because last year we were right on the money. So let's just go ahead and get into this, man. Week 1, Thursday night football, pretty much a month from tomorrow. The Buccaneers will be at home playing the Dallas Cowboys. This game has all the makings for a Bucs victory. And I say that right off of the bat because I'm going to follow it up with my next point. Dallas has got a young wide receiver core that a lot of people believe is one of the best in the league. I think Bleacher Report put out that garbage top 5 list the other day, and they had Dallas ranked number 1 over Tampa at 2. I don't even think they had Tennessee in their top 5, if I remember correctly. But Dallas has got a young wide receiver core. That'll be pretty underrated. I think it's going to be a huge test for the defense, especially the secondary, to see kind of what speed these guys are going to be playing at. Because Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, those guys are not slow. It's going to be quite a test for those guys early, but I think they'll be ready for it. I don't think we see a lot of points on the board. I think you have two offenses that can definitely make some things happen. Now, obviously, with Dallas, it depends on what's going on with their starting quarterback situation. Dak Prescott, a lot of question marks floating around him and that injury right now. So I don't think we see a lot of points on the board. I think it is still sloppy week 1 football. These teams are going to be rusty, trying to get back into the hang of things. We do have a preseason, so I don't think it'll be as ugly as, week 1 of 2020. But it's going to be sloppy week 1 ball. There's going to be some mistakes by both teams. But I am picking the Bucs by more than 1 score in this game. I think Jerry Jones said it best. It is a David versus Goliath matchup, because when you look at these two teams on paper, the Buccaneers are the more complete team from top to bottom, and that's that. So I have got Tampa Bay taking this one 31-21 on prime time to kick off their season. Evan, your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I did not do any score predictions. I can I have some thoughts on what a score might look like.
I can improvise, right?
Yeah. So I actually had in my notes here that I think it might be a high scoring game, just because these two offenses are, I understand it's week 1, but these two offenses are two of the top ones in the league. I know there's been some concern on if Dak Prescott is going to be able to be at 100%. I think he will be. I don't really see too much of an issue there, but it will be his first regular season action in almost a year. Yeah. I believe he got injured week 5 last year versus the New York Giants. So this is going to be his first test, and it's against the Super Bowl champ. So good luck. I mean, they do have the great wide receiver core with Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, and then obviously Ezekiel Elliott behind an offensive line that, when healthy, is actually pretty good. It's just the last 2 or 3 years they haven't really been healthy, and it's really hurt them. I think the Bucs are going to win just because Dallas's defense is just bad.
Right.
That's why, like, honestly, if the Bucs don't put up at least 28 points or so, I'd be kind of concerned because like this defense is not good. They drafted all defense. It's great. Like that's where to start. You draft all defense, but those rookies facing Tom Brady and the Bucs, assuming everyone's at 100% health, I think the Bucs are going to take it. I think your 31-21 score is good. I'll go 34-27. I'll give Dallas a little bit more points. I think the Bucs defense might start off the year a tad bit slow, just sort of getting into the rhythm and stuff.
Yeah.
So it still is a pretty young defense. So I think they'll, excuse me, they might start off a little bit slow, but Dallas' defense is just too bad. So I think Brady does what Brady does. Bucs put up a bunch of points, and I just don't think Dak Prescott either has enough time or he doesn't have just enough firepower to answer back. So I think the Bucs take it and start off.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what kind of looks they throw at him. As we mentioned before, it'll be Joe Tryon's first regular season game, and based off of all the reports coming out of training camp, he has just been kick-ass. He's been giving guys problems. JPP has nothing but great things to say about him, and he looks good out there. Obviously, we'll have to see how he fares in preseason competition, but if he goes out there and tears it up, I'm very, very interested to see him in his regular season debut and how he is used. But let's hope that defense gives Dallas hell and the Buccaneers escape with a W. So that's week 1. You and I both have the Bucs winning that one. September 19th, week 2 against the Falcons. The Buccaneers are still at home for this one. Tampa Bay's first division matchup comes at home in week 2 against the Falcons. Atlanta's a team that really didn't get better over the offseason. They lost a couple of guys, some key departures. Offensive guard Justin McCray, center Alex Mack, which is a really big one. Safety Keanu Neal is also a really big departure. Safety Ricardo Allen, and I think they lost another DB whose name is escaping me right now. They did get Kyle Pitts in the draft, and I guess looking at matchups in this game, Kyle Pitts against Levante David, it could be a tall task for 54, but also considering how he handled Travis Kelce in the Super Bowl, I can kind of see a similar situation playing out here. Also depends on what kind of speed the defense is playing. We know the Super Bowl was the combination of, them playing their best game in 2020 because they weren't able to do that throughout the entire year. All the 19 games before it were not their best game. So they're not going to be playing their best game week 2. These division matchups are always kind of hard to predict. But I think if the Bucs go out there and they play their brand of football, there's no reason they shouldn't win this one. And to go back to the Kyle Pitts point, it's also kind of hard to say that a rookie tight end can fix a mediocre football team overnight, especially 2 weeks into the season. So, like I said, these division games are the most unpredictable on the schedule this year, so it'll be interesting to see how Tampa shows up for this one. But I also have them winning this one by more than 10 points. Buccaneers take it 27-14, and they improve their record to 2-0 on the year.
Yeah, I don't even know. You said Atlanta's like mediocre. I just think they're bad. Like,
yeah, I guess mediocre is generous, right?
They're the worst team in the division. I think Carolina's better than them. I think it was weird. Their offseason was really weird because there was moves that signaled that they were going to try to kind of retool. There was moves that signaled they were going to try to win and be competitive. But then there was also moves that like signaled a full-on rebuild, but they didn't do that. So like the biggest move that signaled like a retool was obviously the drafting of Kyle Pitts. He's a great player. Like he's fantastic.
Oh yeah.
And I do agree the Bucs linebackers and safeties might have a tall task, right? Like, I just think that dude's just we talk about the Bucs having matchup nightmares. Kyle Pitts is a wide receiver playing tight end. He's a wide receiver in a tight end's body. He is he's a physical specimen, and it's going to be tough for anybody on the Bucs to really shut him down. But at the end of the day, he is a rookie. He'll be adjusting to the game a little bit. But then the Falcons go out and they trade Julio Jones, which I understand it wasn't just a football decision. I understand it had some cap implications as well.
Yeah, they were a little bit strapped beforehand.
If you're trying to be competitive, you're trading your franchise cornerstone and one of your best players in franchise history. I think either him or Deion Sanders is the best player in Falcons history. Some would even say that Julio Jones is clearly the best. Who knows? But I don't know. And Atlanta has good weapons. Calvin Ridley's a good player. Russell Gage is a fun player. Their offensive line's meh. Matt Ryan is a decent quarterback still. He's a veteran. He's not really going to make too many mistakes.
He's going to do everything you ask him to do. He's going to push the ball downfield. He's going to make some of the throws that not everybody else can make. But, he's kind of a victim of volume sometimes.
Mm-hmm. And the funny thing is, the Bucs didn't play Julio Jones at all last year.
Yeah.
Like he didn't play in either game. So it's not really going to affect them that, Julio Jones is gone. But I mean, Kyle Pitts is there. So you're going to have to look out for that. I had in here that I just think Atlanta's in a full rebuild. So I think the Bucs take it. Tom Brady is 8-0 against the Falcons in his career. I don't think that ends this time. And I think they start off 2-0. Bucs win 31-20. So I think they'll take it. I think that might be a game where they start off a little slow. It's a divisional game. Your division games are typically close or closer than some would like. So I think Atlanta might hang around, but then the Bucs pull away in the end to start off 2-0 for the first time since 2018 when Fitzmagic went on that run. But they weren't able to start off 3-0. So let's see if they are able to now with a big matchup on Sunday Night Football.
September 26th, week 3.
Timeout. Is it Sunday Night Football?
It's a 4:25.
That's so lame, man.
Yeah, it should be a primetime game.
Yeah, that's so lame.
There's a couple of games on the schedule this year that I was kind of shocked that they weren't. Another one's towards the end of the year. We'll talk about that shortly. But September 26th, week 3, the Buccaneers hit the road for the first time of the season. And, man, I mean, you talk about really hitting the road. They are traveling clear across the country to Los Angeles to take on Matt Stafford in the LA Rams. This is one of the toughest matchups of the season. Also considering how well LA neutralized the Bucs offense last time these two teams played, this is going to be a tough game for Tampa Bay. Now, I know that they had some departures on the defense. They lost Jared Goff, obviously, which isn't exactly a downgrade, but they lost safety John Johnson, cornerback Troy Hill, edge rusher Samson Ebicom, I think I said that correctly, tight end Gerald Everett, running back Malcolm Brown, defensive end Morgan Fox, wide receiver Josh Reynolds, defensive end Michael Brockers. That last one's a pretty big one because I know Brockers kind of showed out against Tampa Bay last time. So with an upgrade at quarterback and some help at wide receiver with Deshaun Jackson, I don't necessarily think Deshaun Jackson is a game changer for LA, but he's just another tool for that offense. He is the Scotty Miller, if you will.
Sean McVay is going to find a way to get him involved.
Exactly. He's going to run fast and he's going to make some catches. And when you've got Matt Stafford who can sit in the pocket and deliver that to him, it could be a recipe for a long day for this defense, depending on what kind of start they get. This is going to be a close game. And I'm actually picking the Bucs to lose this one. They go 2-1 on the year. I'm picking LA in a close game that comes down to the wire. Lots of offensive production on both sides. I think it'll be an exciting game to watch. A lot of fireworks on offense. But this one really seems like it could go either way if things start to, the scoreboard starts to get run up. So I'm picking LA. And my final score is 42-38. I think it comes down to literally like the last drive. Either that or the Bucs stall out on offense. But, Tom Brady in crunch time doesn't normally do that unless it's against the Rams like he did last year. So we'll see what happens. But, yeah, I've got LA winning this one.
Wow, that is a high-scoring game.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, it is. I like the potential for the offense. I think the defense for both teams is kind of still trying to find their footing. Just get up to the potential that they know they can play at. And if they're not quite there, I think they'll get left in the dust this week.
Okay. Yes, I have in my notes here that this is the type of defense/scheme that gives Tom Brady a little fits and struggles, as we saw last year. He had a chance to win the game, couldn't do it. I still am on record of saying, not the Saints week 1, not the Saints week 9. Week 11 versus the Rams in Tampa was Tom Brady's worst game in a Buccaneers uniform. I think that was the worst game he played in a Bucs uniform. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. But the Rams beat this Bucs team in Tampa with a worse QB last year. Like Jared Goff is worse than Matthew Stafford. So I really like Matthew Stafford. I know you really like Matthew Stafford. But the big question with Stafford is this is week 3 and it's a brand new system. We were talking about the same thing with Tom Brady last year. Are the Rams going to be a team? A lot of people thought Tampa would start off a little slow to begin the year last year in 2020. because Brady getting up to speed with the offense. How up to speed is Stafford going to be with this offense? And I think that would determine how well this offense is able to move the ball against the Bucs defense. Sean McVay just seems to scheme against the Bucs fantastic. He just seems to really find the weak spots of the defense, and they still have Robert Woods, they still have Cooper Kupp. You mentioned they added Deshaun Jackson.
And Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, those are, that's a blueprint for a receiver that's going to give this defense problems. Like, let's face it.
Yeah, and it's difficult. And then you go on the defensive side of the ball for the Rams. Still got Aaron Donald, who is I think the best defensive player in the game.
The guy's been in the Madden 99 club for like 5 years in a row.
Yeah, and anybody who knows Madden's ratings are the best.
Yeah, they're so accurate.
They are, and everybody knows that. Okay? Everybody knows that. So, like Devin White, 85. Yeah, come on.
G Vegas brings up a good point here. I forgot to mention it. The Rams lost their running back as well.
Yeah, Cam Akers. Yep.
Yeah, so Cam Akers is down. They're going to kind of be one-dimensional, and I think I don't think they ever signed another running back. Like, I remember the Todd Gurley rumor started to float back that there's a reunion there. I don't think they have any desire to sign Todd Gurley. But I do think that they are kind of scrambling to get some, to get some stability at that position before the preseason gets going.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people are probably upset and they're probably mad that you picked the Bucs to lose. I'm picking the Bucs to lose as well.
People are mad that I picked the Rams to put up 42. But let's remember when Brady was unfamiliar with this offense last year, the Chargers game, they put up 38 points?
The Chargers?
Well, the Bucs.
Oh, I thought you meant the Chargers against the Bucs defense.
Tom Brady and the Bucs offense that he did not understand put up 38
31.
points.
Mm-hmm.
So, any given Sunday in the NFL, if things are rolling, things are rolling.
Yeah. I think the Bucs are going to lose. This is the type of game if they lose. I had just in my notes, nail-biting loss. Bucs are 2-1. I'll say 35-34.
Okay. All right.
So I'll say it's still a higher scoring game.
Yeah, both teams putting up 30-plus points.
Not as high scoring.
Yeah.
But, yeah. We both have the same record, same exact win, same exact loss so far. And now, this is the one that – this is the first one that people are going to be circling. This is a Sunday Night Football game.
This is the game of the year. I don't want to hear anything else. There are better matchups. Yeah. Matchup wise, it is not the biggest game of the year, but it is damn sure the biggest storyline game of the year. Tom Brady makes his long-awaited return to Foxborough, Massachusetts.
And Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah, let's not forget there.
And Antonio Brown, even though he never played a game in Foxborough, but
a lot of Patriot greats.
Yeah.
October 3rd, week 4, the Buccaneers are taking on the New England Patriots in New England. Tom Brady said it himself, probably the last time he will ever play inside Gillette Stadium. And he's going up against Bill Belichick and the Patriots. Like I said, the road trip continues as the Bucs head into their biggest matchup of the year. Might not be the toughest, but it is damn sure the biggest. And let me put it simply, and then I'm going to let you kind of spit your piece here. Tom Brady doesn't lose this game. This is a chance for him to beat all 32 teams in the NFL. The Patriots are the only team he has not beat. Matchup-wise, similar to Dallas, I think the Bucs are better in every category than New England is. Bill Belichick's still a hell of a coach, but, by week 4, I expect that Cam Newton's still going to be out there throwing his way into the second-string quarterback spot. Hopefully he has more touchdowns than interceptions this time of the year, but I'd like to see our defense get after Cam. I hate that guy. I hated watching him in Carolina, and I hope Mac Jones gets the start because either way at quarterback, the Pats are screwed this game. But yeah, simply put, Tom Brady does not lose this game, so I've got the Bucs winning 28-17.
Okay. I put in a note that New England has multiple players coming back because they COVID opt-outs.
Oh, the guys who opted out.
Dante Hightower is a big-time addition. So that's the main one. But they have a bunch of other guys. I forget who all they are, but mostly on the defense. Their defense will be tough. And Bill Belichick knows Tom Brady inside and out, but Tom Brady knows Bill Belichick inside and out. So this is going to be a really interesting game. I don't think this thing isn't going to be a blowout for either side. I had the question here, is it going to be Cam or Mac? I'm surprised that you want Mac Jones because that, to me, gives off Daniel Jones versus Tampa vibes.
Yeah.
That gives me
personally,
that
I don't
gives me,
think
that game in week 3 gave me PTSD. If Mac Jones goes in, the Bucs are losing this game and he's torching the Bucs.
No, you need to settle down right now. Okay, so rookie quarterbacks are not the most friendly to Tampa Bay, especially based off of past interactions. But I should have clarified. For New England's sake, I would like to see Mac Jones get those reps.
Well, this isn't a New England Patriots podcast.
This isn't a New England Patriots podcast, so who the hell cares about what quarterback I want starting in New England? Nobody cares.
I think it'll be Cam.
I think it'll be Cam by this point in the year too.
Yeah, I think if they were playing like week 9, week 10, it might have been Mac Jones, but I think at this point it'll be Cam.
Our buddy Pete and Adam from Bucs UK in the house. Just giving a quick shout out to those guys. Thanks for being here.
Sweet. Yeah, I have in my note literally, there's no way that Tom Brady is going to go into New England and lose. There's no way.
Yeah, he doesn't lose this game.
He's not going to lose. No way. They're going to intentionally force the ball to Gronk. They're going to intentionally force the ball to AB, and the Bucs are going to win. Like, there's no way that Tom Brady is losing to Bill Belichick. No freaking way. So I'm going to say, just like I said, there was no way that Tom Brady was losing to the Saints 3 times in 1 year. He didn't. There's no way he's losing to Bill Belichick. No way. So, and I mean, nobody, obviously Gronk will have motivation, but like Brady will have the ultimate motivation,
Yeah.
So I think your score is fair. I think that the 28-17, I think that's fair. Maybe bump the Bucs down, maybe like 24-17, maybe a little bit. I'll go 24-17 just to do something different.
Okay.
I think the defenses could have some nice plays, and there's just no way. There's no way. So the Bucs for the second straight year start 3-1, and then they have a week 5 matchup versus an opponent who could be tricky.
Yeah. For sure. Very underrated matchup, but here we go. October 10th, week 5, at home, taking on the Miami Dolphins. Brady and the boys return to Tampa to face a very underrated, might I add, Miami Dolphins football team. Call it a hot take, call it whatever the hell you want, but I think the Bucs have a much better chance of losing to Miami than they do New England. By week 5, we'll have a pretty solid idea of what to expect from Tua. We'll kind of have an idea of what to expect from that offense. I'm excited to see how they use wide receiver Jalen Waddle. Pretty underrated wide receiver group they've got over there as well. Some pretty good players. Now, on the defensive side of the ball is where things kind of get interesting. I look at the linebackers and the edge rushers. They've got rookie Jalen Phillips, who you and I were pretty big fans of before the draft. But they also lost Shaq Lawson and Kyle Van Noy. So how they supplement that linebacker position will be interesting to see, but I think this one could be a close game. I think it's an exciting game, and I'm picking the Bucs by a touchdown here. Strikes me as a game where they're caught off guard and they might be playing catch up. I think Miami is the team that comes in and gets 10 points real quick, and then all of a sudden we're like, oh damn, Bucs are down. But I think they come back to win this one. 31-24 is my final score for this one.
Okay. Yeah, I literally said this is a coin flip. I think this is a coin flip game. I really do. I really like Miami this year. Brian Flores knows Brady very well. Flores was the defensive guy in New England for all them years and practiced against Brady. And just like Bill Belichick, he knows Brady well, but Brady knows him pretty well. I had in my notes here is Tua the guy. And I think, like you said, by now, he's already played 4 games. You're going to have an idea. I think you have an idea. And I think he'll be fine. I still like Tua. I really do. Miami's supporting cast was awful last year. They really helped that out by getting Jalen Waddle, signing Will Fuller. So they signed him to a 1-year deal. So I think, Tua is going to have a better year. I really do. And this Miami defense is very underrated.
And when you're not, when you're a rookie, it's one thing. But when you're a team that's not dealing with any sort of quarterback controversy whatsoever, I think it did nothing but hurt Tua to put Ryan Fitzpatrick in there. And as big of a Fitzmagic fan as I am, I wish he could have led that team to, their first playoff appearance in however many years. But, it's just kind of the way that they handled things there. But now that you have a definite answer and like Tua's your guy, no matter whatever happens this season, it's on Tua. It'll be interesting to see. So I think consistency for him is going to be good. And he's another one of those guys where when you think of shifty, mobile quarterbacks, that's somebody that can give Tampa Bay's defense problems. Everybody thinks back to like Taylor Heineke in the Washington playoff game, man. Like they were definitely caught off guard by a guy who could break some tackles and scramble out of the pocket.
And two is a lefty. So
yeah,
that you're not really seeing many left-handed quarterbacks. I know it sounds stupid, but like, I don't know, just something that a defense has to kind of think about.
Yeah.
I have the Bucs. This is going to be a very close game. I had the Bucs winning this game on a Ryan Suckup last-second field goal.
Oh yeah, baby, ice cold. By the way, Ryan Suckup,
Bucs
he did have a bounce back day at camp yesterday. I think he made 6 out of 7, and the only one he missed was blocked.
So 23-21. The Bucs are down 21-20 with 20 seconds left. They finally get in field goal range. Ryan Suckup nails the kick. 23-21. Bucs win. Go to 4-1 on the year, and it's going to be a tough game. I really do. Like, I agree with you that I think they have a much better chance of losing to this Miami team than they do to New England, because I think Miami is just one of those teams that never quits. They're scrappy. They're well coached, and I think they could come in and really want to prove a point that they've arrived, and they could beat the Bucs. But I'm going to give the Bucs the edge, a lot due to experience. Tom Brady tortured Miami for all them years. Why didn't he do it just one more time? So.
Right. Well, let's take a look here at next week's matchup. October 14th, Week 6. The Buccaneers are in Philly, taking on the Eagles at Lincoln Financial Field.
Thursday night football. Yep.
Thursday night football strikes again, and this time it is in Philly against Philly. Now, the Eagles, to me, are a team that are kind of stuck in wait-and-see mode. Jalen Hurts is a guy who can give Tampa's defense some trouble, but nothing their offense won't be able to answer with. They got a new coaching staff, a new system they're trying to implement, some new things going on over there. It is a short week for Tampa, might I add, and I think scheduling-wise, this is probably going to be one of the tougher weeks of the year. You play a pretty underrated Miami team after being on the road for 2 weeks in a row, traveling from one end of the country all the way to the other. Come home, you play Miami, and then 4 short days later, you are on the road playing on prime time. So I think it could be a little sloppy, but I definitely don't see any reason the Buccaneers don't beat Philly by quite a bit. I won't be so generous with my final score here, but I do have Tampa Bay winning this one 27-21.
Okay. 27-21. All right. Yeah, I put it has all the makings of a trap game, sort of because of that travel that you said. In my scenario, the Bucs will be coming off of a huge emotional victory. Ryan Suckup nailing the field goal to just, the Bucs were in trouble losing to the Dolphins. Ryan Suckup nails the field goal. You're on an emotional high. You go into Philly, and obviously, when you're talking to me about football, I'm going to toot my own horn again here. If you're not talking to me about the Bucs, the team I know the most, the second team I know the most about
Philly.
is obviously the Eagles. I've watched them the second most after the Bucs.
I mean, that's why they call you the Philly Bucs fan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a closet Eagles fan, so but yeah, this has all the makings of a trap game. Philly is another scrappy team. They don't have as much talent as Tampa. They don't, but they're a scrappy team, and I like what you said. They're kind of in wait and see mode. I look at the Eagles schedule, and I'm like, there's games where I could see them losing, but I could also see them winning, because you just don't know how is Jalen Hurts going to be.
Yeah.
How is the defense going to be? How is that new coaching staff going to adjust to the NFL? Devonta Smith, is he going to come in and make an impact right away? Philly's in a rebuild, I said, but they have some solid pieces still. They still have Fletcher Cox. They still have Brandon Graham, who might give Tom Brady nightmares because of the Super Bowl, the strip sack. That was Brandon Graham who had that strip sack. It's in Philly. If it was in Tampa, I'd feel much better. In Philly, Thursday night especially, those fans are going to be riled up. I know Philly fans. I'm literally one of them. So they're going to be riled up. They're going to be ready to rock. That place is going to be loud. I hope Tampa's ready. I think they will be. I said this is going to be very similar to the Chicago game. Now, I'm higher on Philly than most. Some people are saying, oh, the Eagles would be one of the worst teams. They're going to get a top 5 pick. I don't think that. I think this is an 8 or 9 win football team. I really do.
Okay.
And I think this is going to be like the Chicago game.
So you think
Thursday night.
do you think with 8 or 9 wins they're taking their division?
No,
Okay.
I do not.
All right.
I think Washington gonna get the division, just barely. I think Eagles will probably get 2. So I said this is gonna be like the Chicago game, Thursday Night Football. It's gonna be a little bit colder. Won't be freezing. October in Philly. It's normally an October night. It'll be
like 50s.
It'll be 40s maybe. Yeah,
Okay.
mid 40s. Mid October. It'll probably be mid 40s or so. Just hope there's no rain, because if there's rain, it could make things a little bit of a mess. There won't be snow. There's no snow, but I said it's gonna be like the Chicago game, but the Bucs are gonna win this one. I think, and unlike the Chicago game last year, the Bucs are gonna win a close game. I do think that there will be times where it looks like the Bucs are going to lose. Like I really do, but I think the Bucs are gonna pull it out. They're gonna make one more play than the Eagles can. The Eagles, some of their their secondary pieces are still young, and I think they're gonna get it done. So I'm going to say it's a low-scoring game, 20-17. The Bucs win by a field goal again. It's not a last-second field goal, but they win by a field goal. I'm terrified of what Jalen Hurts can do with his legs, because the Bucs still don't seem to have an answer for like scrambling quarterbacks that can really escape the pocket like that. Hopefully, they're able to contain him. I think they'll be able to do just enough and escape Philly with a narrow W to go to 5-1 on the year, and that's their best record. I haven't done my research here, but that's got to be their best record in the past.
Oh, yeah. I
15
can't remember the
years.
last time a Bucs team started 5-1, but you brought up that Chicago game. Speaking of Chicago, the very next week, October 24th, week 7, the Buccaneers are back at home taking on the Chicago Bears. When I look at the Bears, man, they are a complicated team this year. High risk, high reward situation that they have found themselves in. You trade up for Justin Fields. You lost Kyle Fuller, one of the better cornerbacks in the league on defense. Their overall defense, I think, is still solid. They got Desmond Trufant to address the cornerback position. Mario Edwards at interior defensive line, I think they signed this year as well. And then, of course, they still got Khalil Mack, who is just a freak of nature, the only man to ever put Tristan Wirfs on his ass. But I think it's important to remember that the Bucs are going to be pissed. Like, they're going to be mad, and I think when they're in game film that week, they're going to make sure especially that they are on their P's and Q's, because considering how 2020's game went, how the Bucs shot themselves in the foot, and it didn't necessarily lose them the game, but it definitely got them behind. I think they're going to be pissed. I think they're going to come out and probably play maybe not their best game of the season, but I think they get no penalties this game. I think they go out there.
That was a big key.
Yeah.
In the reason they lost week 5 last year. So.
Exactly. I think it will be a close game with Chicago's defense. It'll be interesting to see how they fare. But I do have the Bucs winning a close one at home, 26-20, and they improve to 6-1 on the year. One hell of a start. We'll see what happens here. But Evan, your thoughts on the Chicago game?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if you brought this up, but I think this is Justin Fields at this point.
Yeah.
I think it could be like 4 different guys. It could be Justin Fields, it could be Andy Dalton, it could be Nick Foles. Like, who knows?
Let's hope to God it's not Nick Foles.
Well, yeah, if it's Nick Foles, they're losing.
Yeah.
It seems like the Bucs just can never figure out Nick Foles, even though they beat him when he was with Philly in 2018. But I said this is likely Justin Fields, which makes the game tougher, I think, because I think Justin Fields is the Bears' best QB. I think he gives them the best chance to win, and he's a rookie. You're going to have limited tape on him. And rookie quarterbacks, like we talked about earlier, Mac Jones. I was worried about Mac Jones because just like Daniel Jones, it's another QB that I don't really think is that good. That would just come in and torch the Bucs. I think Justin Fields is actually good. So I would believe that he could come in and really give the Bucs problems. Chicago's defense is still pretty good. Like you mentioned, Khalil Mack is just a freak of nature. He's one of the best defensive players in the league. I said Bucs defense forces Fields to make a rookie mistake that costs them the game in a low-scoring W.
You can always count on the rookie.
This is going to be a flashback game. This is going to be a flashback to Tony Dungy, 1999 type years. That's what this final score. It's going to be 14-10. The Bucs win.
Wow.
And a lot of people are going to start to be concerned about the Bucs offense, but don't worry. They'll be fine.
A lot of people are upset that we're not picking the Bucs to put up 35 points every single week, but that's just kind of not how football goes. All All right. So we both have
we 6-1, 6-1, the exact same wins, exact same loss.
We both have the Buccaneers starting 6-1. Now, after that Week 3 loss against the Rams, they go on a little bit of a run here, a great win streak. But here we are, October 31st, Halloween, Week 8 against those goddamn New Orleans Saints. Tampa's next division matchup on the year comes on Halloween in the dirtiest, smelliest town that the U.S. has to offer. By this point, I feel like it's still going to be somewhat of a tight race for first and second place in the NFC South.
It's not going to be over.
Right. Obviously, the Jameis-led Saints are going to meet Tampa for the first time. This is a division game in New Orleans. People are going to be in the Superdome, the Little Caesar Superdome. I'm not going to call it anything else. It is the Little Caesars Hot and Ready Superdome, as far as I am concerned. People are going to get pissed, man, and I really hope I'm wrong. But I think the Bucs are losing this game. This game, kind of like how you had pegged for the Philly game, this game has all the ingredients of something happening that Tampa Bay will not expect and that they will not recover from. I don't know what it is, but Sean Payton's the type of guy where, like, just when you think you have him, you don't. And I think that's what we see here. I think fans being in the stands are going to play a big role. It's going to be loud. I think the defense probably has a couple of takeaways on the day. But I think they lose this game. I won't go so far as to say it's like their worst game of the year, but I don't think it's going to be the Bucs that we saw over the first 7 weeks of the season. So with that being said, I think they lose to New Orleans in New Orleans, 35-27, my final score.
Yeah, it's always a tough place to play. I had that. Always a tough place to play, and it's likely going to be 100% capacity. I said that the Saints are going to be plenty motivated. I'm going to keep it short. People are going to be mad at me too. Saints spook the Bucs. How's that? Did a little Halloween play on words. Saints spook the Bucs and win 34-30. And this is Tom Brady's worst game of the year, despite putting up 30 points. This is Tom Brady's worst game of the year thus far, where fans are like, oh, Tom Brady probably, if he plays better, they probably win. So I think this is the game that it's a tough game. It really is. Now, you say Jameis Winston. Are we sure this is going to be Jameis Winston?
Oh shit! I mean,
it should be Jameis Winston.
By week 8, I feel like Taysom Hill's. If they entrust Taysom Hill week 1, by week 8, I just don't think he's going to be your starting quarterback. If he is your starting QB from week 1 to week 8 to this point, then the Saints are probably battling to keep like Carolina out of second in the division. I don't think they're going to be a good football team with Taysom at QB1.
Sure, but if you make a QB change, that already means that you're struggling. So,
yeah,
I think Winston. I think he starts the year week 1 as the Saints starter, and I think he plays the Bucs here. I think he plays well. I think they get a couple takeaways, like you said, but I think Tom Brady gives it right back, and I think they lose one that's gonna have fans frustrated, and so the Saints get their revenge, and the bye week record is 6-2 after 8 games, which is exactly their record last year. They were 6-2 heading into week 9 last year as well. So it's a pretty successful season so far.
Right. I mean, if you listen to our season predictions, 2-3 years ago, by the bye week, they were teetering on playoff competition, but it is a different season. And there are some people in the chat who are like, oh, you picking scared. I don't know if picking scared is the word.
We're 6-2.
Right.
What do you mean?
It's not necessarily like we're picking them to lose games that they shouldn't lose. These are games that we can see a legitimate case for them to go out there and lose.
Look,
believe it or not,
this is the NFL. This is the NFL. All these teams are professional football teams. The Bucs are not going to beat every team by 20. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They're not.
Well, I mean, we'll see what happens any given Sunday. But yes, here we are at the bye week. It is week 9, and both Evan and I have the Buccaneers sitting at a nice and pretty 6-2, first place in the NFC South. Even with the loss to New Orleans, I think they're still going to be first in the division. So the bye week comes around. Probably couldn't have come at a better time. I really like a week 9 bye week. I think it's probably you don't. What do you like it towards the end of the year?
Oh no, because then I can't go to the game. So
Oh, yeah. Well, that's
that,
true.
that, that we already talked about that.
Yeah.
We already talked about that on this show. So that means that I cannot attend a Bucs game this year because of that week 9 bye week. So but as far as like actual football, yeah, it's a good bye week because it's like right in the middle, basically.
Right.
And with that week 18, it literally is in the middle. So following a tough loss on the road, you want to regroup a little bit, right? Yeah. You don't want that to a one loss to turn to 2 or 3 in a row because then you start to lose the season. So then 34-30, you just lost. The whole world was watching. Your former quarterback beat you. Calm down, relax, regroup, and let's get back to it.
Yeah, let's do it. So coming out of the bye week, November 14th, it seems like a really long time when you say that they don't play a game from Halloween all the way to November 14th, but hey, that's the nature of the bye week. Here we go. 2 weeks later, week 10, the Buccaneers are in Washington taking on Riverboat Ron and the Washington football team. Listen, our buddy Ben Leeper was in the chat, and he picked the Bucs to lose this game, I believe. One of the 4 games they lost this year, and it could be that way. But in my opinion, I just feel bad for Washington here. Hopefully Fitzmagic is still under center, but with Tampa Bay coming off of the bye week and their worst loss of the year, they're going to be pissed off, and they're going to be ready to go. Washington's defense is poised to be one of the better groups in the league, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think maybe first half, Washington can slow down Tampa Bay a little bit better than more people expect. I think those halftime adjustments are going to be on full display in the second half, and the Buccaneers win this one by multiple scores. I've got the Bucs 24, Washington 14.
Okay, there's no way Bucs are losing watch party game, right? There's
yeah,
no way.
Right. Yeah, let's not forget this is the week of the watch party, folks. Buccaneers are going to be pissed off coming off of the bye week.
They're going to know. They're going to be like, look, we got Barry House packed for this. Like, there's no way. There's no way we can lose this game. That's what they're going to say to themselves. It is. I did have my notes, though. It's a tough road game because I think Washington, yet again, is one of them scrappy teams. The Bucs play a lot of those teams this year. Mm-hmm. A lot of teams that they're better than. The Bucs are better than the Washington football team. But they're a scrappy team. Evidence, the playoff game last year. The playoff game, Washington was the toughest opponent they had, basically, man. Like, that's the one that gave them the most fight. They're a scrappy team. I said, is this Fitzmagic or Fitztragic? Bucs fans have seen both. Yeah. If it's Fitztragic, this thing won't even be close. But if it's Fitzmagic, this thing is going to be close. I don't know. And I can't predict whether it's going to be Fitzmagic or Fitztragic because I don't think anybody can predict when it comes. It just comes, right? It just happens. Yeah. But I do think Bucs defense steals the show and the game in Washington. The Bucs offense struggles for one more week before they hit their stride later in the year. I'm going to say Bucs win 24-17. I think Fitzpatrick will probably have a drive with like a minute left to end the game. And I think Carlton Davis seals the deal with an interception.
I like it.
I think the Bucs are going to win the football game and improve to 7-2, which they didn't even do last year. They were never 7-2 because they got blown out by the Saints in week 9 and they went 6-3. So improvement from last year already.
Yeah. Let's take a look at next week's matchup. November 22nd, week 11. They are at home. Monday Night Football, prime time for this one. They're taking on Daniel Jones and the New York Giants. This one seems like one of the easiest games to pick all season, and it sucks because it felt that way last year, and then we saw how Monday Night Football was it Sunday night or Monday night?
No, it was Monday. It was Monday.
Monday Night Football against the Giants last year, it was a little bit of a slosh fest. Yeah, that's a word for it. It was an ugly game. It was a win, but it was an ugly win. I don't really get those vibes here. This one seems like an easy pick for me. Joe Judge is currently injuring players at practice for fighting. So I really don't have the best feeling.
Players are retiring.
Dude, what was the name of that? What was the old lineman that retired like 2 days after he had gotten there? They were talking about it on McAfee. And he's like, listen, dude, he's like, sometimes in the NFL, these are grown men. So some guys aren't going to sit there and be treated like that. So you're hoping for a veteran to speak up. But like, dude, this guy signed with the Giants, had that 1 day of practice, and he decided, I'm never doing that shit again. And he retired. So with that being said, I don't have the best feeling that New York will have played great football by week 11. I think they're going to be one of the bottom teams in the league, and I think Joe Judge is probably going to be out of a job, unless they just feel like keeping him around. I don't know. But the defense is going to come up big here. I think after the bye week, the defense is going to be up to speed. They're going to be playing their best football throughout the rest of the season. And this is just another example. I have got the Bucs by a lot here. I think their biggest margin of victory on the season, 27-10, is my final score. I think they run it up against New York and they leave.
Okay. I said that I thought the Giants were improved, but their QB is still Daniel Jones. I think their defense is sneaky good, and like they gave the Bucs some struggles last year on Monday Night Football, and I even think that this might be very similar to last year's game. It'll be a little bit less close. It won't come down to a 2-point conversion at the end, I don't think, but I do think the Bucs win. I think they get it done, 31-27. I think they get it done. I think the Giants, I think this might be a game of the Giants. That 27 is like a garbage time touchdown.
Right.
Bucs are up like 31-20 or something.
You get Lenny run it in from 20 yards out or something.
Yeah, no, I told you about the Giants scoring that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
So I think it'll be very similar in terms of, I don't think it'll be a blowout, but the Bucs are just a better team. And Daniel Jones is going to cost the Giants the game just like he does every single time. So I think the Bucs are going to win and go to 8-2.
Hell yeah, brother. So both of us have the Buccaneers at 8-2 up until this point. Now, this next game, there's a lot of factors here that are going to...
The first ever 17th game.
Yeah, this was the 17th game added to the Buccaneers schedule, and they managed to fit it right in here at Week 12. They're going to be on the road November 28th playing the Indianapolis Colts. This has the makings to be probably my game of the year. Depending on Indy's quarterback situation, I think they are one of the best built teams in football. Now, they did also lose Quentin Nelson, which is going to be a huge blow for them. I feel like maybe by week 12, he's the kind of guy that's going to be out there.
He'll be back.
Yeah, you don't know so much about Carson Wentz, but if he is out there, what kind of season has he had at this point, right? Because the expectations for wins, they haven't been crystal clear, but they're not expecting him to miss more than, the first half of the season?
Yeah, it'll be probably the first 4 or 5 games, I think.
Right. I think this is a game that comes down to it. I think it's a close game. Indianapolis has got a great defense. Nobody can deny that. They have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL, especially if they have Quentin Nelson out there. Their run game is kind of sneaky good every now and again, too. I think it's a gritty game. I think it's an exciting game, one of the best of the year. But I am picking the Colts to win this one, 31-28.
Okay. Yeah, I said yet again another tough road game. It's a tough road game. I said, just like you said, Indy has a really good roster. And I know people are going to be like, oh, how they have a good roster. Like, they haven't even won many playoff games recently. Their roster's just good. Sometimes, like, they ran to the Bills last year. Bills are a better roster. Like, sometimes that happens, you know. The Packers are a good roster. They ran to the Bucs. The Bucs have a better roster. It happens. I said if Wentz is good, this team is deadly, and I mean like maybe one of the best in the AFC.
If Wentz is good, let's not forget. If Wentz is good, if Wentz is healthy and playing like garbage, then that's another story.
Yeah, absolutely. I said Bucs lose a frustrating one. I think this is going to be one where you look back and say, yeah, that one got away from them. I think. It's going to be a game where the Bucs are outplaying the Colts the entire game, but the Bucs are making their own mistakes. They're shooting themselves in the foot. You're going to be tweeting out on that day that picture of the flag being shot through the Bucs' foot. You're going to be tweeting out that picture a lot that day.
It pisses me off, but that's like one of my favorite pictures.
I think this is that type of game. Bucs lose 30-23. I think they're just not going to be able to do it. I think this is going to be a game that's sloppy, and I think it's going to be one where Coach Arians is not very happy. So, and they have another road game right after this. So
yes, they do. Now, Buccaneers are 8-3 for both of us at this point. We have picked them
same.
Yep. And I feel like we were on a little bit of a hot streak like this last year. I don't remember. I know there were a couple of games down the stretch that we had mixed up on, but I think we were pretty dead even for the most part. So here we go. Another road game. This one's going to be much easier, and I say that with a lot of confidence. December 5th, Week 13 in Atlanta against Atlanta. Bucs are going to get the sweep on the road. Maybe Atlanta plays some better football by this point, but they're still going to be mediocre. They're still going to be the Falcons, and they're still going to be last in the NFC South once it is all said and done. So I've got the Bucs by a score of 28-14. They win it by 2 touchdowns.
Okay.
And as we get later on into the season as well, the division games are one thing. Like with Atlanta, I think we know a little bit what to expect, but this is where things get interesting, just because you don't really know what teams are going to be good and what teams not. The team that you thought was going to be a Super Bowl contender in week 1 may not even be in contention for the playoffs this time of year. So this is where the predictions get a little hairy, but I think we got a good bearing on it.
Yeah, and I mean, in the last 6 games, 4 of those games are division games for the Bucs.
Yeah, they really crammed them all in at the end.
So you keep saying Atlanta mediocre. They suck. Like, to me, they're not mediocre. I think Atlanta might have packed it in by this point, because like I think at this point, week 13, I hate to be blunt, but hey, that's me. I think by week 13, they know they're done. Brady is yet again unbeaten against the Falcons, and since I have them beating the Falcons in week 2, Brady would then be 9-0 against the Falcons. I think it could be a higher scoring game, just like the Falcons game in Atlanta last year. That was kind of high scoring. I know the Bucs got off to a bad start. They had to really regroup. I'm going to go the Bucs offense has their best game of the year. The Bucs win by double digits, though, 45-31.
Damn, you think Atlanta puts up 31 on this defense at this time of the year?
They put up 31 last year.
Yeah.
Or what? No, I think they put up 27 last year.
I think they, I don't think they put up quite 30, but I don't know. I mean, who knows?
I think Atlanta put up 27 on the Bucs in Atlanta and in Tampa. I think it was the same thing. I think the Bucs beat them 44-27 or something the last game of the year. Yeah. So I think they beat them 45-31.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I guess you're right.
It's just 4 extra points.
No, you're right. You're right. So here we go. We both have
also,
the Bucs.
Also, I had a thing. Hard to imagine the Bucs lose 2 in a row at this point in the year. They lost to Indy.
Yeah.
Hard to imagine. Hard for me to imagine. Now, I know you'd say, well, late in the year, they lost to the Chiefs and the Rams. Sure, those were 2 of the best teams in the NFL at the time. I don't know if they're going to be losing to the Colts and Falcons back to back. So
yeah,
they sweep the Falcons for the 2nd straight year, and Tom Brady is now 10-0 against the Falcons in his career.
Hell yeah, man. So here we go, December 12th, week 14, another one of those games where everybody's going to be watching, boy, taking on the Bills. Buffalo comes to Tampa Bay, and this is another game with the makings of game of the year. Josh Allen is the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, and hopefully for the Bills' sake, he's playing up to that standard and playing his best football of the year at this point. I think this is a high-scoring game. I know what I just said about, the defense and how they're going to be running on all cylinders, but this is the Buffalo Bills.
Is just good.
This is the Buffalo Bills. This is Josh Allen, perennial MVP contender from last year. He's still got Stephon Diggs. They have a very, very good offense. I think it's a high-scoring game, similar to the Rams one. But I think the Bucs make a statement. And, any other year I'm picking the Bucs to lose this game. And based off of the track record they have from my season predictions so far, they have kind of lost the games that, they need to step up in, right? Even though a lot of people could look at the Bucs roster and say that they have the better roster than Buffalo, it doesn't fucking matter. Any given Sunday in the NFL, you need to step up, and this is one of those games. But I think they get it done, and I have them beating Buffalo 35-31. Buffalo still hates Tom Brady, and he still hates them, so he gets it done.
Okay. I said Buffalo is one of the premier teams in the league. I think they're a top 3 or 4 team in the NFL.
For sure.
I really do. This could very well be your Super Bowl 56 matchup. This very well could be your Super Bowl 56 matchup in Los Angeles. So you got a preview of Super Bowl 55 matchup last year, Kansas City versus Tampa in Tampa. Now you could be getting Buffalo versus Tampa in Tampa this year as the preview. I had in my notes this could be a game of the year, but I also have in my notes that Josh Allen, who got paid, he got the bag, but he makes one more play than Tom Brady does, and the Bills escape Tampa with a W, a heartbreaking W right at the end. It's a hard-fought game. There's no shame in losing this game because, like I said, Buffalo's they're a good, very good football team.
Oh yeah,
like there's no shame in it. So Bills win 34-30. They break the Bucs' hearts, and so it's a tough one to swallow because it's one you're like, oh man, like
yeah.
shoulda, coulda, woulda had that one if this happened or something. But I mean, the Bills are a good football team. This isn't like they're losing to the Atlanta Falcons 34-30.
Yeah.
Like they're losing to the Buffalo Bills. It's the same thing like when they lost to the Chiefs. I was like, okay, but it's the Chiefs. I was like, it's not like they lost to some team. Like the Bears game was much more frustrating, in 2020. I think that Colts game will be much more frustrating because I think the Bucs are maybe better than the Bills, but like their rosters are pretty darn even, I think.
Right.
Like I really think this is the best team the Bucs are going to play all year. This is the best team in the regular season, of course. Once you get in the playoffs, who knows? But Bills take this one, and Bucs have their fourth loss of the season.
Well, it only took 14 weeks. But you and I finally picked a different outcome for this game. I've got the Buccaneers stepping up 35-31 over Buffalo. And you have got Josh Allen making one more play than Tom Brady. So the Buccaneers fall to 4 losses on the year. Here it is, the rubber match the very next week, December 19th, week 15 versus the Saints in Raymond James Stadium. I mean, Bucs are going to win the rubber match. It's as simple as that. Tom Brady is not going to lose to the Saints twice this year. They are not going to get swept. And I think by the time week 15 comes around, when the Buccaneers win this game, they will have pretty much secured the NFC South. They'll probably be, I'm thinking, 2-3 games ahead at this point, depending on the state that New Orleans is in. But simply put, I think they know what to expect. I think they know that they're playing in front of the home crowd, and they know for damn sure that they don't want to get embarrassed again in front of the home crowd. So they're going to go out there and win this one. I actually don't have a final score on this one, but I think it's because they run it up and they win 50-0.
All right. It's kind of crazy that this is like going to be a carbon copy of last year's matchup, basically. Sunday Night Football, Saints in Tampa.
Yeah, it is prime time. I forgot to mention that.
It is a Sunday Night Football. I said Brady, I think, is going to shine under the lights after a disappointing loss. I think the Saints are going to be fighting for a playoff spot at this point. We saw, the Bucs might have the division really in control, but like the Saints might be fighting for that wild card spot. So they know that they need this game.
Mm-hmm.
Like they need this game, and they're going to want it. They're going to want it badly. But the Bucs will get revenge on the New Orleans Saints and finally beat them in Tampa on Sunday Night Football by a score of 35-24.
Hell yeah.
Tom Brady throws all over the Saints. Mike Evans runs wild over the Saints. Catches 2 touchdowns against Marshawn Lattimore.
Hell yeah. If he's not in prison by this point, right?
Ooh. Well, speaking of prison, I mean, Michael Thomas is going to be locked up by Carlton.
Hell yeah, he is, buddy. Slant
like
boy ain't going nowhere.
You like that one. And Jameis Winston's going to throw 2 pick sixes. So there's that too. 2 pick sixes. It's just going to be, it's going to be bold. It's just going to be, the Bucs are going to want to win this game so bad. It's going to be 2 picks. One by Vita Vea, I'll say.
Hell yeah.
Whoever it is. Mike Evans will run out there, play corner. He'll get a pick six.
There we go. Just like the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, so Bucs will win, and that'll make the Buffalo loss feel a little bit better now that they're able to beat the rival in Tampa finally on primetime.
Oh yeah, for sure. And here at the end of the season, I think you and I both have them going on a little bit of a run here. I do have an interesting theory for the last week of the season, so we'll get to that very shortly, because I do only have them losing 3 up until this point. December 26th, week 16, the day after Christmas, they are going to Carolina to take on the Panthers. The first time these two teams have met. Tampa got the sweep last year, but Tampa got the sweep playing against Teddy Bridgewater, who wasn't that great of a game manager. Now, we don't really know what the deal is with Sam Darnold. The hopes are that, after getting away from Adam Gase, he can kind of have a little bit of redemption, kind of like Ryan Tannehill did in Tennessee. So let's say things are working out for Carolina, right? If New Orleans is the team that I think they're going to be this year, Carolina could be contending for that second spot in the division. So this is a game where they don't necessarily get caught off guard, but I think Carolina could be a team that's a little bit tougher to take down than you would expect. Like you said, they are a much better team than Atlanta. They're probably not quite the team that New Orleans is, but Bucs played New Orleans the week before this game, and they had their number because they had already lost to them one time. So for Carolina, being at home will be an advantage. I see this being a close one. but I do still have Tampa Bay getting the win, 28-21. 28-21 Bucs.
Okay, yeah, Sam Darnold, like you said, you don't know what you're gonna get with him. I've called him the white Jameis Winston. I've called him that on this show before. I said this could be a trap game. You're coming off of another emotional win. You just beat the Saints in your house, finally avenging that embarrassing loss. Because yes, they avenged that loss greatly by beating them in the playoffs. But man, wouldn't it be sweet to do it in Tampa under the lights? You know, like that's it, man. You know,
And just to not hear all the garbage that, you know, the Saints own the Bucs in the regular season. We still swept y'all.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter that you got a Super Bowl ring. We still beat you twice in a year.
It's a ring, dude. Like, come on. And also, they're finally able to beat Jameis Winston. They do it in an embarrassing fashion. This could be a trap game. And I'm not sure. Carolina should be improved. I think, like you said, they're a tier above Atlanta. They're a tier below New Orleans, I think. I think Carolina will have some playoff hopes, but I think by this point, those hopes will pretty much be gone. I'm not sure if Carolina has enough experience yet to beat Tampa. Their defense is still really young. Even their offense is still really young. I'm not sure they have enough. Bucs take it. I'll say 27-20. I'll say Bucs take it.
There we go. Moving on to Week 17, January 2nd. It'll be 2022, and the Bucs will be playing January football. That's a nice welcome change. They're taking on the New York Jets in Tampa. We're not going to spend any time on this. Like,
it's in New York. That's an important.
Oh, it is in New York. I thought it was at home. Thank you
It is in New York.
Thank you for correcting me. But come on, man. Come on,
what? Jets, Jets. Let's go.
Come on, bro. It's the Jets.
Don't do this. You're gonna get us on Old Takes Exposed. Oh no,
man, it's the Jets.
If the Bucs lose this game, I will be going back to this point, and I will be clipping this video and sending it to Old Takes Exposed. I will do it.
Well, the Bucs aren't going to lose this game. That's all the notes that I have. I mean, it literally says on my notes. I don't know if you can see it. It says January 2nd, Week 17 versus the Jets. You can't really see it, but it just says
the Jets.
It just says, "Come on, man."
Come on, man.
27-10. The Buccaneers take that one. That's my final score.
Okay. I said this should be the easiest game on the schedule.
It has to be, right?
It has to be. They're the worst team on the schedule. Like, you know, and by this point, like, they're not going to be playing for the playoffs. So, like,
playoffs?
You're going to have plenty of tape on what Robert Saleh is doing.
You want to talk about playoffs?
You're going to have plenty of tape on what Robert Saleh is doing. I like him as a head coach. I think the Jets are heading in the right direction. That direction ain't this year. And it ain't the direction towards beating the Buccaneers. What will the weather be like? You thought it was in Tampa. What if this is a snow game? If this is a snow game, it's still a low scoring game. I said if there is no snow, the Bucs win by 14 plus. Yeah. So I'll go 42 to 20. 42 to 20, Bucs win.
Just the Jets putting up 20 points on Tampa Bay's defense this time of year is a little laughable, but I appreciate the generosity.
It'll be another garbage time touchdown.
Yeah, no, you're right.
The Bucs will be up like 42 to 13 or something. The Bucs will pull their starters because it's about to be playoff time, and then boom.
Yeah. So speaking of pulling your starters, let's talk about the season finale. January 9th, Week 18, Raymond James Stadium to close things out.
First ever Week 18, by the way.
First ever Week 18. And they're going to be playing a division opponent to wrap up the season yet again. This is like, what, the third or fourth, fifth year in a row that they always finish against a season or a division opponent?
Yeah. Well, who was the last game against? Oh, yeah, the
Falcons last 2 years.
Falcons was last year. Falcons last 2 years. Falcons last 3 years.
And then the year before that was the Saints, was it not?
The year before that was the Saints. The Falcons were the last 3 years.
Yeah, man. So the NFC South trend continues for the last game of the season. Here's something weird, and here's
also
something...
all those games have been in Tampa, by the way.
Yes, they have. Here's something weird, and here's something that's going to piss everybody off, guaranteed. I think the Bucs lose this game.
The way you said that.
Let me explain. I have a theory, okay? So with my record predictions, the Buccaneers come into this game 13-3. I don't know a lot of other teams in the NFC this year that are shaping up to be 13-3 by the time this comes around. Maybe Green Bay, but like, come on, dude.
The Rams.
Maybe the Rams, but I don't even think they get 13 wins. Just because Matt Stafford's still learning that offense. right? They could probably be like a 10, 11, or 12 win team. I think 12 is their ceiling in LA. So, Carolina, if they are still in contention for second place in the division, they're going to have a little bit more to play for than the Bucs. If the Bucs have the number 1 seed locked up, then you are not going to see Tom Brady out there longer than the first half. You're not going to see Mike Evans getting as many targets as he did week 17 last year when he fucking injured himself against Atlanta because they forced targets to him.
But did you not want him to get that record?
No, I damn sure did. Everybody in that stadium did.
You're making it sound like it's a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing, but he was out there unnecessarily for a team that had already shored up a playoff seed.
Yeah, you have this team losing to Carolina. Well, they did not shore up a playoff seed. They needed that game to get the 5th seed.
They did. They did need that game to get the 5th seed. But if you're 13-3 and you're comfortably in the 1st seed spot and they have it shored up, it's a damn sure guarantee that I think the Bucs are going to rest their starters. And in my theory, if they rest their starters, they lose this game 28-24 because Carolina pulls something out of their ass at the last minute and it gives them something to hang their hat up on as they just go home, sit on the couch for the playoffs. Like, you remember how badly we wanted to win that last game when the Bucs were 5-11, 7-9. That last game,
just like the Bucs beat New Orleans in Tampa.
Right, something to hang your hat on, something to look forward to in the next season. And for Carolina, a young team getting their grips. I'm not even reading the chat right now, dude. For a young team getting their grips, a win like this over the defending Super Bowl champions and division opponent is huge. And it sucks that it's a division game. But I still think the Bucs have a firm grasp on first place in the NFC South, so they are able to rest their starters this game, and I've got them losing 28-24.
Okay, I mean, I did have in my notes, will this game matter for the Bucs in terms of seeding? Like, will it matter?
Mm-hmm.
The difference between me and you, I think it will matter. Because I think the Rams are going to be better than you think. And since we both have the Rams beating the Bucs, that means the Rams have the head-to-head tiebreaker. So let's say the Rams are at 12 wins and the Bucs are and they're both at 12 wins heading into week 18. If the Rams win and the Bucs lose, or even if both teams lose, the Bucs would have to win and the Rams would have to lose. So like the Rams own that tiebreaker since I have the Rams beating the Bucs. So I think this game is going to matter. I don't think the Bucs are gonna have it wrapped up. I really don't. I think Carolina, like you said, though, will want to end a growth year on a high note. I think they could be second in the division. I don't know if they will be, but I think they could be second in the division. I said Ryan Suckup nails a field goal with a minute left, and then the defense seals the deal. So I think the Bucs win by a score of 26-24, I'll say.
Okay.
Right? I'll say the Bucs win 26-24. It'll be, maybe, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe some starters will be rested. Maybe there will be a few guys you don't see, but I think you'll see the main ones. I think you'll see Tom Brady. You'll see Mike Evans. I think the Bucs will eventually, they'll need this game to get the 1 seed. Yeah. Obviously, the playoffs will long be clinched, but they'll need this game to get the 1 seed. And with that, we took one different path to get there, but we both have them going 13-4 in the regular season. So
how about that, man? Franchise win total broken.
Yep.
Most games in an NFL season.
It's a shame. It's a shame that there has to be 4 losses though.
Right.
That still matches the same amount of, still matches the same amount of losses, but whatever.
It is what it is.
Who cares?
So 13-4. A little bit of a different road to get there, but like you said, you and I both have this Bucs team in a pretty good spot. I think that they are, if not a shoo-in, they're going to be competing for sure for the 1st seed in the NFC.
They'll be either the 1st or 2nd seed. If they're not the 1st seed, they'll be the 2nd seed.
For sure. Now, with that 1st seed, obviously you're going to be wanting to play for home field advantage. If week 18 rolls around and you're one game away, and you're
remember the 2nd seed does not get the bye week anymore. Only the 1st seed does. That's huge.
Very true as well. So this game could be, could come down to the wire. The Carolina Week 18 game I'm talking about. It could come down to a lot of different.
Gotta love Rhett just throwing and give the game away. Just saying, it doesn't matter. Who cares?
So we have wrapped up our season predictions. Let us know what you guys think in the live chat. But before we wrap up everything else, we've got a couple of more things to cover. Individual player awards. So we are going to predict who we think team MVP is, offensive and defensive MVP, breakout player, and rookie of the year. So we'll just go category by category. I'll give my pick and explain. You give yours and explain, and then we'll hit up the next one. The first item on the list, team MVP. I mean, it's kind of an easy pick here, but I'm going with Tom Brady. I think Tom Brady continues to defy the odds. If he's able to throw over 40 touchdowns, it's one hell of a successful year. Obviously, if the Bucs are the first seed in 2 seasons, Tom Brady has probably made his claim for the best Bucs quarterback in history. As much as people don't like to hear that, numbers don't lie, stats don't lie, and
Why
he is
would people
already.
not like to hear that?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Your guess is as good as mine.
Is there
buddy.
actually people out there that
Yeah,
like, think that?
yeah, there is
Oh
people
my
out there. I don't know if
God.
you've been on Twitter lately, but there are people out there who don't like to hear stuff like that.
I try to stay off Twitter.
Yeah, I do too.
try.
Trust me. It's just too addicting. So my team MVP is Tom Brady. I think he is the catalyst for what could be another Super Bowl run as he was last year. The casual people who try to talk Bucs football and don't really know anything about it like to say that Tom Brady carried that team last year, and that is not the case. I think the perfect term for it is he was a catalyst for this team. He was exactly what they needed, exactly at the right time, and he did a lot to change the tone of that locker room. I think he just continues to go out there, plays up to his standard of excellence, and I think he is the Buccaneers team MVP for the 2021 season.
Okay. I'm as well going to go with Mr. Tom Brady. I think just like you said, he's an important part. It's the second year in the offense, more comfortable, full year, full training camp, full everything in this offense. He's gonna get it done. And I think he's gonna have a great year. And he'll be the team MVP and lead them to the most wins in franchise history.
Yeah, I like it, man. So let's go ahead. Next thing on the list here, offensive MVP. I got a fun one. And I think this has been a hot topic, so it might not be as hot of a take as it would have been a month ago, but I think Antonio Brown will be your offensive MVP for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this season. I think Mike Evans gets the touchdown record, but I think AB is the receiver that just makes the most difference in a game. I think there's going to be a couple of games this year where he goes out there and he absolutely wrecks it for whatever defense did not game plan against him enough. Getting a full season of AB, seeing how healthy he's been, seeing how agile and just how good he looks at camp, man. Like, there really are not a lot of doubts in my mind that he is going to be the receiver that makes the most difference for the Bucs this year. I do think Mike Evans is your red zone target, and I think he gets the touchdown record.
So you think he gets more than 13 touchdowns this year?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. Maybe 14. Maybe just by one, but maybe 14. And of course he gets his 1,000 yards. But I think AB also has 1,000 yards on the season. I really do. And that's why he's my offensive MVP.
Okay. Bucs offensive MVP. Yeah, can't lie. It's a tough one because it's stacked, right? It is. It's literally stacked. You could have gone with Tom Brady, right? Because if he's the team MVP, he could be the offensive MVP. But I did these predictions about 2 weeks ago, and I can't lie to you, I am bummed. My offensive MVP is Antonio Brown. So
sorry, bud.
I just think Antonio Brown is going to be the Buccaneers' best wide receiver this season. I think he is. I think he's going to be their best receiver. It's a full year of Antonio Brown in the offense, everything. And I'm not going to spend too much time on it because all the points were already brought up. So I just think he's going to be more comfortable. I think with Tom Brady's going to be able to find him. He made a huge impact in a limited amount of time, not even knowing the playbook. I think he's going to have a fantastic year. And I mean, that doesn't mean that Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and Rob Gronkowski, are going to have horrible years. They're going to get theirs. They're good. They're going to get theirs. But I just think that Antonio Brown is going to be that guy.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think one more thing that's important to remember as we talk about AB before we move on is whenever you're in the NFL and you are a player and you turn 30 years old, your grade just goes down like immediately, right? And I've seen a lot of people discredit Antonio Brown. There was a poll that I saw the other day and it was like, would you rather have AJ Brown or Antonio Brown? And I know AJ Brown has got a lot of upside. He's very young, but it was like a 70-30 split, AJ Brown to Antonio Brown. Let's not forget the conversations that we were having about AB before, his whole debacle started to happen. The conversation for Antonio Brown in Pittsburgh, after the blistering start that he had to his career, he was already being talked about as one of the best of all time at the wide receiver position. Like, his athleticism is through the roof. Just his skill at the wide receiver position. I think people like forgot how good he was at one point. And I know that he's 32 years old, but for a guy that knows how to take care of his body, for a guy who lived with Tom Brady, I feel like he's got a little bit of an idea of how to take care of his body. And even though he is wide receiver 2 or 3 on this team on the depth chart, he's still Antonio Brown, bro. Like, if Pittsburgh would have given him a long-term contract, he'd still be their wide receiver 1. And that's just the way the cookie crumbles. And I think that's very, very important to remember. So that's why his upside is ridiculous.
People forget that he's like from like 2015 to 2018, he was like the best wide receiver, one of the like putting up numbers like all time.
Dude, yeah, there was nobody better.
Yeah, like I mean, like all time. Like he was like, if you ignore all the off-field stuff, he might be a top 5 wide receiver all time.
And that's for the short career that he's had already. I mean, I say short when he's over 30.
He's not even done. And now he has a Super Bowl on his resume. He has a touchdown in that Super Bowl. Yeah.
Shout out to our buddy Harrison Aaron in the live chat. I think he said earlier he's a new subscriber. Thanks for being here, buddy. So here we go. Defensive MVP. This one seems pretty easy, and I think we both have the same player. Get Live 45. Devin White is your defensive MVP for the Buccaneers in 2021. I think he takes all the best parts of his game that we saw last year, and he just gets better, man. He's going to be less of a liability in pass coverage. I think that's probably something he's worked on the most because I think it could be pointed to as his biggest weakness over his first few seasons in the league. But he's just going to keep getting better and better and better. Now, Levante David is going to keep being Levante and hold it down, but Devin, man, he just has that knack to make those game-changing plays right when you need him the most, and I think we'll see plenty of that from 45 this year.
Yeah, it's Devin White. I don't need to spend too much time on it. It sounds like from camp he's improved his pass coverage a little bit. I know camp isn't everything. You have to play the games, but he'll be the best one. He'll be the best player.
Oh, yeah. I think so for sure. Breakout player of the year is our next one, and I had a little bit of trouble.
This is the hardest category.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of guys on this team that are poised for a breakout year, and the guy that I picked is, I'm pretty sure, the guy that I picked every single year that we do these predictions, and unfortunately it never ended up turning out the way that
Vernon Hargreaves.
Yeah.
I went back and listened, and I think you picked Vernon Hargreaves like 2 or 3 years in a row to be a breakout.
Oh, god damn it. Don't remind me of that.
That's okay, because every time you picked him, I picked Noah Spence. So.
I wanted to pick Ronald Jones, but the reason I didn't is because I don't really think there's any more room for Rojo to break out. He would have been a 1,000-yard rusher last year if he, didn't end up with COVID and the finger thing at the end of the year. As far as receiving yards go, I don't think he's going to get any better than he is. He's still dropping passes in camp. I don't think he's going to be a receiving back. Gio Bernard's going to have the most receiving yards out of any of those running backs this year. So I don't want to say Rojo.
By far.
I don't want to say Rojo because if he gets his carries, I think he's a 1,000-yard rusher. The guy that I have is the juice. OJ Howard, man. Has to be. If we can get a full season of OJ Howard, I am so excited about his ceiling because the first 4 games that we saw him in last year, the connection between him and Tom Brady was pretty natural. Like, I think Tom Brady likes his bigger targets, but when you have a target as big as OJ Howard and as athletic as he is, that can create disaster for a lot of defenses.
He had 2 receiving touchdowns in 4 games.
He did.
3.5 games basically because he didn't play it really. He didn't finish that 4th game.
He had that one great contested catch against Denver as well.
Yeah.
Where he had to go up and get it. I mean, Tom put it right on the money, but I really think he likes OJ as a target. And if we get, OJ Howard, we've been waiting for him to live up to this potential since we drafted him. And obviously this is the most critical year he's going to have. But I think if he lives up to that potential, he could end up with a favorable contract or the Bucs pick up his 5th-year option. But I think he's going to play his way into some notoriety that I think he deserves because he is just an athletic freak.
No, this is his 5th-year option.
Oh, it is. My bad. My bad. I didn't realize he'd been on the team for that long. Damn.
Yeah. He's actually, he might be under contract next year. But was Ronald Jones the same guy? No, he's a free agent.
Yep, you're right.
Ronald Jones was the draft class after that. So, this is a big year for OJ. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited. He is not my pick, so we now finally have a different player. OJ Howard is not my pick.
I know our next category is going to be the same. I know for a fact it is.
I don't think you do. See, the tough thing, like I said, I did these like 2 weeks ago, and this player hasn't had a great camp that I'm picking right here. But I'm still gonna stick with it, I guess. I'm not gonna go away from it. I think my breakout player is gonna be Jamel Dean.
Okay.
I
saw some people mention Jamel Dean in the chat, and that's only because they brought up Ross Cockrell, who is having a great camp.
Jamel Dean hasn't been good, so
yeah.
I was gonna say Carlton Davis, but just like with Ronald Jones, like how much more can Carlton Davis break out? Like I think right now he's maybe a top 10 corner, definitely top 15. Like I don't know if it's like breakout would mean like he's like getting to like top 5. I think he's a good player.
When I think breakout, I just think of mass improvement.
Yeah,
like breakout
like,
to me is like the most improved award.
Yeah. You might see Carlton Davis improve, but like I don't think he's gonna improve so much, because he was so good last year.
Yeah.
So I think Jamel Dean, because here's the thing. Pewter Report, who's done a great job of covering training camp, they basically said the issue with Jamel Dean in this camp has kind of been, he's been lost in coverage sometimes, but he gets a lot of pass breakups and he's got to catch the football. He only has he had one interception last year. It was a big one. It changed the whole season with the pick 6 off Aaron Rodgers, but it was one. You know who that reminds me of? Carlton Davis before last year.
Yeah,
that's the
picks were not his strong point.
The exact conversation that we were having last year with Carlton Davis. So Jamel Dean has all the traits. I think he's going to put it together, and he will have 3 or 4 interceptions this year, and it will be clear that Jamel Dean is the Bucs' number 2 cornerback opposite Carlton Davis by the end of the season.
Oh, I like it, man. I did not put him on my list anywhere, but a couple of people in the live chat brought up Mike Edwards as well. I think Mike Edwards will surprise some people this year. I think 2-3 years in a row, the Buccaneers DB room has labeled him the best hands on the team, but he has really got a nose for, making plays on the football. It seems like usually when a play is made, he's somewhere around there, and he's just got a nose for the football. So I'm excited to see what can happen. But the level of growth that we have seen from these defensive backs is pretty damn great. Like, you remember 2019 week 1, they were ranked 32 out of 32 on NFL.com as far as secondaries go. And they turned things around the halfway point of 2019, and there has been no looking back since. Occasionally, you'll get some people get burned. Kansas City, Tyreek Hill comes to town. It's going to be hard. But luckily, they don't play those guys this year. Unless they meet him in the Super Bowl again, then we'll see. But here is the last award that we have. Rookie of the Year. I was fairly confident that you and I had the same guy, but as time went on, I kind of thought about it more, and I know that you're a bigger fan of one guy than another, so I think that's who your pick is, but I'm going to go ahead and throw mine out there. Easy pick. First-round pick, Joe Tryon. I think he's going to make the most impact out of all the rookies. Hainsey is more of a depth guy. He has been getting reps with the 1s and 2s, but we're probably not going to see more of Robert Hainsey until we find out what happens with Alex Kappa and Ryan Jensen after this year. Jalen Darden is great, but it is a stacked wide receiver room. Now, if he can make some difference as a returner, that's one thing, but I just think it'll be kind of hard for him to get as many touches as we would like. So I think Joe Tryon has the best chance of being your Rookie of the Year just because of the impact that he can make starting week 1. Todd Bowles is going to design up some looks for him to get him as an extra pass rusher or to swap him out with JPP if he comes out. Whatever the case may be, I think Tryon's going to be that guy. We've heard plenty of great things throughout camp, and I'm excited to see what his ceiling looks like for his rookie year. But I think he's the guy, and he's my pick for Rookie of the Year.
Okay, well, this is gonna be uneventful. Joe Tryon. I thought it was a complete lock that you were going Jalen Darden.
I thought it was a complete lock that you were going Jalen Darden.
I thought it was a lock that you were going Jalen Darden. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid on Joe Tryon. I really am. He looks awesome in camp. But if you would have asked me pre-camp, like before anything started, I might have said Jalen Darden. Like I legit might have. But like, man, Joe Tryon is like out there making people look silly. And looks in great shape. I'm gonna drink the Kool-Aid. I'll probably get burnt. I'm sure I will. Always do. Always will. But I'm drinking the Kool-Aid on Joe Tryon, and I think he's gonna get. I predicted him to get 3 or 4 sacks this year. I think it's more like 6 or 7 that he's gonna get.
Here we go.
So,
okay. Yeah.
I think he's gonna be the Rookie of the Year. And I mean, Rookie of the Year. That does, 2 of the Bucs draft picks aren't even gonna see the field basically ever. Kyle Trask and Robert Hainsey like aren't going to see it. So it's a it's
you meant for like this year in particular.
Yeah. Well, Kyle Trask we don't know, but well that's a topic for another pod later this week. I guess.
Man.
But keep throwing. I'm not even gonna say it. Okay.
Come on,
like
Kyle. We're not gonna repeat with throws like that, man.
That dude might be right. So I think Joe Tryon is going to be the guy. I even think he might get a pick this year because they're going to drop him in coverage. I think it might.
We did see him play some pass coverage at camp so far. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, of course he's going to. They have Ndamukong Suh play pass coverage. Joe Tryon play pass coverage. I'm shocked Vita Vea hasn't really done it much yet. So I think it's going to be Tryon. Jalen Darden will be a close second. I will say that. I think Jalen Darden's going to force his way to force Byron Leftwich to put him in the actual offense. I think he's just going to force it. And I do think my bold prediction with Darden, at the end of the year, you're going to see more of Darden than you will Scotty Miller. That's what I think.
I like it. Hey, with bold predictions, let's go ahead and make our way over to our final segment of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the season predictions edition of Evan's Take Bag. Now, I don't know if you're going to be talking about preseason, training camp, or just regular season.
This is regular training camp right now.
Okay, so. All right. So present day stuff. But Evan, the floor is yours, my friend.
This has to do anyways. Hang on, real quick. Yeah.
There's the bag.
Green screen. Take Bag. Have nothing in there. Have nothing in there yet. Sorry. Hey, Jason Light, Bruce Arians, don't you dare cut Tyler Johnson. Don't dare. Okay, and I know I tweeted this, and I said that if they cut Tyler Johnson, it'd be one of the dumbest moves they've done in a long time, and everybody was so confused. And I said the first 8 words of my tweet were, I'm not saying this is going to happen, and I'm also not saying it's going to happen now. People were freaking out.
Yeah, well, selective reading is a thing nowadays.
Yeah, it's especially on Twitter. It's like, what do you mean, Tyler Johnson? Oh, Tyler Johnson's going to make the team. Look, this wide receiver room is so stacked. Jalen Darden I love Tyler Johnson. Anybody who's listened to the podcast for the last year knows that I thought Tyler Johnson was the Bucs' best draft pick in the 2020 class. I was clearly wrong because Tristan Wirfs was a Pro Bowl, all pro caliber guy. Sure. But he was my favorite. Johnson was my favorite pick. I think he is so good. And he's been having a good camp. It's just, I think Darden has really caught their eye.
Yeah.
And the issue is, I think if Darden forces his way into the offense, into a role in this offense, it would almost force Tyler Johnson out. And people would be like, well, Johnson, this and that. Your 6th wide receiver has to have special teams experience. And that everybody said to me, well, Darden plays special teams. Darden is a return man. When I say play special teams, I mean coverage-wise. Kick or punt coverage, you have to play it. Tyler Johnson hasn't done that much. I don't know if the Bucs think he can do that. So your 6th wide receiver has to play that. Are they going to carry 7? I have a tough time seeing it. I don't know. They could. I mean, if they really want to keep, Jadon Mickens or something, or
I don't think Mickens makes
Travis
the team.
Johnson. He's been having an awesome camp. But,
he has been having a great camp, but I still just don't think he makes the team over a guy like Darden.
No, Darden's not getting cut.
Oh, no way.
I'm talking about coverage wise, guys on coverage, not kick and punt return. Kick and punt return coverage on the defensive side of things. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to carry 7, but don't cut. Find a way. Figure it out. Find a way to keep Tyler Johnson on his team. I don't think he's going to get cut, but they need to figure out a way to keep him while also getting special teams value there.
Our buddy Pete in the chat brought up a good point. And for many people, I think they look at it as Tyler Johnson's already kind of starting from behind because Bruce Arians he wasn't exactly shy saying that Tyler Johnson came into camp a little bit overweight. Now, Johnson has been having a good camp, but, when you're on BA shit list.
Coaches are going to remember that when they're deciding the roster.
Exactly.
Jalen Darden came to camp in shape and a rookie, He's fresh, young, can do a little bit more on special teams. Looks good. So I love Jalen Darden. You know that too. After the draft, I said Jalen Darden was probably one of my favorite picks that they made. But it's tough. It's I love Tyler Johnson. I love Jalen Darden. The Bucs just get why I loved Chris Godwin when he came out.
They nail it with the receiver picks, man.
Well, just listen to me. That's all. I liked Mike Evans. I didn't love Mike Evans. Coming out, I liked him. I didn't love him, but like Tyler Johnson, Chris Godwin, Jalen Darden, I loved those three guys. I loved even Justin Watts. I really liked. So they've had a pretty good track record when it comes to wide receivers.
And looking back at Tyler Johnson too, I think it's safe to say that he made the catch of the playoffs last year.
Oh yeah, you can't cut the guy that kept you going.
Yeah.
So because if he drops that, the Bucs lose. That's my hot take. If that pass is incomplete, that was a 3rd and 11 in a tie game in the 4th quarter. He drops that pass, the Bucs lose. Just saying. I'm not worried about Ryan Suckup yet. Not worried about him yet.
I need to see what happens in preseason, baby.
Yeah, exactly. If he goes out there versus Cincinnati and misses a kick, I'll get worried. Sure. Like even if he misses like a 50-yard field goal, whatever. But if the Bucs go down opening drive, score a touchdown, he misses the extra point. Okay. Like, all right, then it's time to get worried. But he hasn't had a great camp, and we haven't really talked about it because I didn't really think there was much cause for concern. But he kept stacking up bad days.
Yeah.
Especially what was he 3 for 7 the other day?
Yeah.
But then he followed that up with a 6 for 7, and the one was blocked. So you can find that clip of the block actually on the new training camp vlog, which is available on the channel. Go check that out.
Oh yeah, brother.
And the last thing, baby. We got a football game to play in 6 days.
Right? What the hell, man? Football is back, folks. Buccaneers going to be in Rage A taking on Tennessee. Those joint practices start this week.
Since Cincinnati. No joint practice this week. That's next week.
Oh shit. Well, okay. Well, I guess it just proves how out of whack I am with the new preseason coming back, dude. I'll be honest. Like up until 2 days ago, I couldn't even remember who we played this preseason.
Cincinnati, Tennessee, Houston.
Cincinnati, Tennessee, Houston. There we go. Okay, so forget I said Tennessee. The Bucs are playing Cincinnati, and I sincerely hope that game is in Cincinnati.
It's in Tampa.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I sincerely hope that they break out the red jersey, white pants for the preseason. I hope they break it out during the regular season, but we always see it during the preseason that I really, really hope they do it again this year. Because I just want to see what it looks like.
We'll see. Yeah, with the new uniforms, that would look kind of, because we haven't really seen it with the updated ones. We haven't seen that combo yet. So.
Yeah, I think it'll look sharp.
Yeah. So just a quick reminder that it is less than a week. Obviously, preseason games really. Hall of Fame game was last Thursday. A lot of teams play this Thursday coming up. Preseason games Thursday, Friday. But the Buccaneers have a football game to play in less than a week now. So how about that, folks?
Hell yeah, folks. It has been a long and winding road over the offseason, but here we are, the 2021 NFL season right around the corner with the preseason kicking off for Tampa Bay this Saturday against Cincinnati. Looking forward to it, man. We're going to get a good look at some of those bubble guys over the next 3 weeks. Find out who looks good in the game and who doesn't. Who looks good in camp, who doesn't look good in live game action, and vice versa. Because I think there's some of those guys who are the opposite, right? You don't really look that great in camp until you blow up in a preseason game and everybody's talking about you, a.k.a. 2019 Tanner Hudson.
Preseason games carry more weight than training camp practices.
Oh, 110%. Rich in the live chat says, does Rhett know this is American football? Surprisingly, it took me a minute to find it out, but I did happen to know that. Believe it or not. All right. One last question for you, just because I've seen it addressed in the live chat and I don't want to ignore anybody. But I guess we can add this to your take bag. For anybody who hasn't listened to the show, I want to know your take on Keyshawn Vaughn this season.
Sneak Vaughn.
Sneak Vaughn. Is he gonna sneak his way out of a roster spot this year? Or?
No, he'll make the team.
Oh, he'll make the team, yeah.
He's not gonna sneak his way on any snaps this year. I don't know. I don't know.
You don't like him at all.
I think the Bucs are gonna roll with the hot hand at running back. And I think if Ronald Jones is not having a good game, Leonard Fournette can't seem to get going. I don't know if they want to rely on Giovanni Bernard to run between the tackles. So maybe you see Keyshawn Vaughn.
I don't know if you, on that training camp vlog that you brought up, I don't know if you saw that Gio Bernard run at the end, but he embarrassed Devin White.
Well,
ran right over him.
Devin White sucks in coverage. So
he's not a sucky tackler, though.
Can't tackle, can't cover, can't do nothing.
Oh, for God's sakes.
He's new Quan Alexander, just with a different number.
For the people who think you're serious, we just had like 20 people leave the live stream.
90% of what I say is serious, except when I say do not cut Tyler Johnson. If you're gonna cut anybody, cut Keyshawn Vaughn. If you're gonna cut anybody from that draft class, no, I don't really have much against him. I just don't think he's very good. He can prove me wrong, sure, I'll eat crow, but I don't know how much you're even gonna see him this year for me to even my point to be justified or proven wrong. I just don't think you're going to see him that often.
I've said it before. I'm not ready to write off Keyshawn Vaughn as a bust, but I think it's a perfect situation of wrong place at the wrong time. If this were the 2018 or the 2019 Bucs, where you had a better idea of the sample size that he's going to get, where he could be fit in a little bit better during the season. Like, once the Bucs were playing and they had 6 or 7 losses and you kind of knew the season was over, that's when you get a chance to maybe work in a guy like that, right? But when you are a championship team with as small of a window as the Bucs do have, you don't have a whole lot of time to wait around and find out if Keyshawn Vaughn's going to be the guy. You don't have 3 or 4 games in the regular season where you can give him a bigger sample size to see what he does with it.
Yeah, I agree. It's like I say, he's not going to play enough. And just like you said, in years past, sure, he might get more playing time. You might know that he's going to play in time. He'll have to have a good preseason, and it's important. I have heard he's had a good camp. I've heard he's had a solid camp.
He is catching a lot.
Yeah, I mean that's what he's going to have to do. He's going to have to catch the ball to really stand out. Somebody said Sneak going to be the starter when Rojo and Fournette leave. I'm not sold both of them are going. I think Fournette will probably go, but I don't know.
You think the Bucs draft another running back next year if they lose Rojo?
I don't know, maybe. It all depends on if they bring back Giovanni Bernard and stuff like that. Because if Keyshawn Vaughn has a good preseason, they like what they see. Maybe they just roll with Vaughn and Bernard next year. I don't know. One more thing that I have to do because they're hot. One of the hottest teams in baseball. Harrison Aaron. I saw your profile picture before. I know it's changed now to a Bucs one. I know it's changed to a Bucs one. I understand why it's changed to a Bucs one because your team is a disgrace. Go Phillies. Go Fightins, baby.
Oh,
They're
my
hot.
God.
They're hot. They just swept the Mets 3-0 win today, 8 in a row, first in the division. Phils are hot.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think we've really covered the bases, and I think that's going to wrap things up for our 2021 season prediction show. I want to say, firstly, thank you to each and every person here in the live chat, our buddy Adam and Pete from Bucs UK, Harrison, who you were just talking about, Mazement717, G Vegas, our moderator, holding it down, a couple of other people, like Pac-Man 504 was his name. He was crapping on me the entire show, but I really appreciate him being here because I know he was watching it and paying attention, and that's what you do in podcasts, and we truly appreciate you guys. Do not forget, the first ever Cannon Fire watch party is coming up November 14th. It's going to be a 1 o'clock game. They are playing Washington on the road. That's going to be at our friends Berry House Beer Company. Our guys at Wingbox Food Truck are going to be out there catering some of the best wings in Tampa, some of the best local brews that you can find. And of course, your favorite Buccaneers podcast is going to be out there with our guy, Mr. Bucs Nation, doing a pregame and a postgame podcast. So make sure you guys are out there for that. As soon as this live stream ends, I'm going to upload the commercial, quote unquote, the promo video. And if you follow us over on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, I'm going to put the flyer up there as well. So be on the lookout for all of that information, and we hope to see you guys there. Evan, any final words before we wrap this thing up?
No, I'm excited to finally get, like, this is basically game week this week. So
right?
It'll be
right.
It'll be fun. So yeah. He'll Amazemet. Sorry if I mispronounced that. He said, "I'll be at that Washington game." Amazement. That's easier, huh? Yeah. Oh my God, I am an idiot. I'll be at the Washington game, guys. Cool. If you're not going to the Washington game, we have a place for you to come. No problem, and we'd love to have you. So, thanks, guys. I think you were very cautious on predictions, but I understand you don't want to raise expectations too high.
How is it? Okay, listen. I know that the Bucs just won the Super Bowl, and I know that they only got better. But how is 13 wins on a season cautious? Like,
yeah,
I don't know, man. 13
the most wins in franchise history.
I mean, listen, if we're wrong, then I bet you they're going to go 14-3. But I just don't.
I don't see them going better than 14.
I don't think they go undefeated, and I don't think they go 16-1.
And 15-2 is even like
It's
that's
just tough, man. It's a long NFL season. It's a long NFL season. There is an extra game this year, and I think the common theme that we, or at least I have learned based off of season predictions, is to not get too ahead of yourself.
You have learned. Yes.
Evan has helped me reel in my expectations over the years, and when you're the best team in football, 13 wins on a season doesn't really seem cautious to me. But hey, to each their own, folks. We really do appreciate you guys, and if you feel like we're messing with you or getting defensive, I promise you we're just messing around. But we are glad you guys could be here. Thank you, G Vegas, for being one of our great moderators and holding it down. We really do appreciate you, buddy. Ladies and gentlemen, that's just about going to do it for this episode of the Cannon Fire podcast. Make sure you go follow the show on social media. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter is the best place to go for updates on the show. And of course, Buccaneer news as it happens. Speaking of Bucs news as it happens, you can follow my co-host Evan on Instagram at Bucs_daily, the #1 Buccaneers fan page on Instagram. You can also find him on Twitter at EvanNFL. Last but not least, you can find myself, Instagram and Twitter at Retticus, RHETTAKUS. If you follow me, I will follow you back. If you're watching and you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, make sure you do it because we have got plenty of great content aside from the podcast. As you guys have been seeing, the training camp vlogs are doing really well, and hopefully we have some more of those for you guys between now and the start of the regular season. I am your host, Rhett Matthew, signing off from my co-host, Evan Wanish. That's going to wrap things up for our 2021 season prediction show. It has been a fun one, and we really appreciate all of you guys being here. It is game week, so we'll talk to you more about that soon. But thank you so much for checking out this episode of the Cannon Fire podcast, brought to you by our friends over at BetOnline.AG. We'll catch you later, and as always, go Bucs.